comfortably this afternoon, and I'm sure that you'll be pleased about that, and I will leave it to others just to continue to debate the merits of the motion tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, I don't think I've ever seen in the last 18 years the start of a business motion which was being precipitated by endless points of order. And I think that more than anything just demonstrates the mess this place is in, the absolute guddle that we have when it comes to procedure and process. All these points of order, trying to just examine and define and find out exactly what's going on. And I'm pretty certain that all of our constituents who are taking a great deal of interest in our proceedings just now are absolutely bemused, mystified, frustrated and increasingly angry about the way that we do our business in this House. All these issues trying to come to the front of attention. It's almost got to the point in this House where it's so broken, debate is so corrupted, that we're now actually having a debate through points of order. Imagine it were reached that stage just now, and I think it just goes to demonstrate just how bad we have actually got this. But tomorrow, the sitting tomorrow is all about the latest wheeze to get their doomed Brexit deal through. And they're inviting us to consider the withdrawal agreement without the political declaration attached. It is the meaningful vote, but it's a sort of Schrodinger's meaningful vote, one that's both alive and dead at the same time. And after 3 years, with no attempt to create any sort of secure consensus across the way forward, after 2 months of defeats, this House taking control yesterday, this is the last throw of the dice for them tomorrow. And it seems, Mr. Speaker, that even offering herself as a sacrifice to the Brexiteers this week was not good enough for them. And was said in the Scottish Parliament today so elegantly from the First Minister, this is a Prime Minister that threw herself on the sword and missed. I think you can't get any more calamitous than that, Mr. Speaker. But there's just one issue about tomorrow. We are, all of us, as you would expect as a Scottish National Party, Scottish Members of Parliament. That means that there's particular issues when it comes to our travel arrangements. We spend over half a day getting to this House and half a day getting back. That is 1 full day of travelling just to be able to come down here and do our business. The way that this government has so disrespected those of us all who have great distances to go. This is announced this morning, to confirm this morning that we would be sitting in this House is actually totally acceptable, and I'm looking forward to the honourable gentleman agreeing with me.
Nobody's forcing the honourable gentleman to be here.
Let us go.
Do you know, Mr. Speaker, this is just part of the pattern that we expect from the honourable gentleman. Just go home, go away. This is what they feel about this. Well, I'll tell the honourable gentleman, I am happy to oblige him, and I'll tell you how we elegantly achieve that. It's when we secure independence for our nation.
The honourable gentleman for giving way. He's making a point about travel. I would just say to my constituency neighbour that I think constituents in North and South Perthshire would be plenty happy for us being here making some of the biggest and most important decisions of this Parliament and modern political history. Travel can change. These decisions can't wait any longer.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pretty sure the electors of Perthshire would be delighted if we were here making decisions, but it's the exact opposite of what we're actually doing. There have not been any decisions in this House, probably in the last 3 months, and he is responsible for that. And, Mr. Speaker, just lastly on the motion, and I totally and utterly agree and support the Shadow Leader of the House, it is absolutely disgraceful that in a motion for tomorrow, we were presented with that 10 minutes before this session was supposed to sit. And yes, I'll give way to the honourable gentleman.
Very grateful to the honourable member. Does he not also agree with me that if we actually look at the business of the House motion, it makes reference to complying with acts and the European Union documents, and yet the very motion we're debating tomorrow acknowledges that we are not going to follow UK legislation and we'll catch up at some point in the future?
Well, absolutely, and I did raise that with the Speaker this morning, just about exactly what we're doing about Section 13 of the European Withdrawal Act, and he's right. We've not seen the Withdrawal and Implementation Bill. We're expected to make critical decisions about the future of this country, about how we progress Brexit, without knowing what it is. What they are offering is a blind Brexit, the ultimate blind Brexit, a blank cheque to this government to negotiate a political agreement as they see fit. It's the last throw of the dice for them. This is the only place they've got left. The meaningful vote is dead. It's been trying to be resurrected by splitting the two parts together. Yes, for one last time, because I could tell people want to get move on.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. He's making a very important point about blind Brexit. And does he agree with me that this motion, the way that this has been tabled, is going against the spirit of this House in terms of trying to expand and understand where there is a consensus, instead contracting the debate, trying to separate the debate about the future, which is part of and the core of the very debate about why we don't want to leave without knowing what we're leaving and going to. Yeah. It's like moving house, leaving your home without knowing where you're going to be living.
I've heard that analogy already being made today, which is absolutely, utterly right. And I think we could both compare what happened yesterday, where this House were able to consider all sorts of measures and ways forward in order to try and see if there was some sort of consensus across the House about how we try and determine and progress this idea. With tomorrow, which is all about trying to satisfy the concerns of their backbenchers, with no attempt to reach out to the rest of this House. And that is why I believe that this will ultimately fail. This is the last chance for them to bring this back. We will all be here in our places, and I can assure the honourable gentleman about that, even though we have got hundreds of miles. So he can be certain that the Scottish National Party will be here taking part in these debates, and we will make sure that this is going to be voted down, and the interests of our country will be maintained and progress when it comes to all this. So we look forward to that. But, Mr. Speaker, as an exercise, it is just totally and utterly consistent with the chaotic cluelessness that lies at the heart of this Tory Brexit, a Tory government that has divided the nation and taken us to the absolute brink. We will be here, Mr. Speaker, and we will be voting this down.
Thank you. Vicky Ford.
Mr. Speaker.